Okay.
mail-in ballots, and the deadline to apply for those is October 31st. If you are looking for information on statewide, school, or township races for borough officials, please use the League's online voter's guide.
Oh yeah,
Vote
League of Women Voters.
411.org.
They put out this
Vote
stuff.
411.org. And for information on countywide and Reading candidates, please stay tuned. The League interviewed candidates in contested races, those who wanted to be interviewed.
This was from a
And
year
for
ago.
each race, the candidates got the same basic questions.
Unfortunately,
They had the same
Sheila
amount of
lost
time
the
to answer them.
bid for
The League,
District
I'm
5.
Judith Prentice,
I don't know
and
what she
let's
was up
begin.
against.
Hello, I'm Bill Lipton, a member of the League of Women Voters of Berks County. The feature
Oh, I met
office
this guy,
today is Reading City
Bill
Council.
Lippman.
Council
He
members act on
has no relation
legislation,
to the
set the
physics
budget,
professor
and
at
confirm
Berks.
appointments of the city manager and members of boards. They need to have lived in their district 1 year prior to the primary election and must retain residency in their district. They serve part-time for a 4-year term. The salary is $5,000. District 5 is in Northwest Reading. There are 2 candidates, Democrat Rafael Nunez and Independent Sheila Perez. Each candidate's views
Oh
are
yeah,
their
that's right.
own
She was an
and
independent.
not those of the League or BCTV. Today, our candidate is Sheila Perez. Welcome.
Hola.
Sheila, please tell our viewers about yourself and why you are running.
Do you know her?
Well, I've been living in the city of Reading for over 30 years, and over the past.
Well, back in your day, I think as Richard said, the population of Reading was mostly white people and black people, but not a whole lot of Latinos. When do you think the Latino migration started to Reading? Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll give. Yeah, I'll give the AI a try here.
Important to understand that Latino migration to Reading, Pennsylvania has occurred in waves over time, rather than a single distinct event. Here's a breakdown. Early 20th century. There's evidence of an early, though temporary, presence of Mexican laborers in Reading, as far back as 1916, when the Pennsylvania Railroad hired them. Mid-20th century. A more sustained migration began in the 1940s and 1950s, with Puerto Ricans moving to the area for agricultural and industrial work. Late 20th century. The 1980s and 1990s saw a significant increase in Latino immigration, with individuals arriving from Mexico, the Dominican Republic, and other Latin American countries. This wave was influenced by factors like economic opportunities and displacement from other areas. Therefore, while there were very early small instances of Latino presence, the largest influx occurred in the later parts of the 20th century.
Interesting. So later parts of the 20th century. So 20th century would be the 1900s, up until like 2000, if you will. So yeah, were you okay? So you got married to mom in like 1981, was it, or 1982?
82.
Yeah, 82. And so were you already living in Reamstown at that time? Yeah, you were, because mom said you had the house, but in order to pay your mortgage, you were living on bologna sandwiches, right? Yeah.
I had a water heater that was cold water.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go back to the interview.
Past 22 plus years, I've been very involved in local government issues, persistently attending city council meetings, public hearings, and through the work and the organizations of We the People citizens have been successful in placing 2-term limits on the ballot in May.
You know, there's a lot of these small organizations that I've never heard of, and probably a lot of them showed up to State Representative Betty Guzman's grant workshop, and Habitat for Humanity guy was talking to Manny Guzman about sort of going head to head with the mayor on like style of accomplishing things. The Habitat for Humanity guy was saying, we all got to work together, and Manny Guzman's going to try and put a list together of all of the attendees, the nonprofit attendees, and there's also some for-profit attendees too. I recognize the name of a developer who was sitting next to me, who had maybe been at planning commission before, or maybe was involved with like River Place development back in the day, like 15 years ago or whatever. Anyway, but like nobody was interested in doing like affordable housing, and one of the things that Sheila had brought up with me is that the CRIZ zone is like a double-edged sword. It'll help out the city. It'll help out, say, maybe like the power structure perhaps, but like the ordinary people might actually end up paying higher taxes, and then those tax dollars will not come back to those people. It'll actually, of course, go to the key buildings and economic development, for businesses. But then, the ordinary citizens are going to, in those neighborhoods, are going to experience an increase in taxes, she said. So that's the thing. I mean, CRIZ could help Reading start to look like Lancaster, and be super developed and stuff like that over a period of 20 years and stuff. But it's going to probably be like pulling teeth to begin with, to get developers to come. And then, of course, they might try and bend the rules, to favor the developers and screw the people, in theory. It's just a projection, based on what I've been told. But that's the thing. People say, oh, you have to do that to get ahead, so that there can be a trickle down. But the thing is, what if they never intend for there to be a trickle down, just like in Lancaster, where the homeless people are constantly persecuted for sleeping under whatever bush or church that they find, constantly being moved by the police and stuff. So in Lancaster, it's merciless, and and Lancaster is generally a more religious place, ironically, and you'd expect them to be, more Christ-like. But no, when Kevin Collin went to Lancaster, the food hub person said, I'll give you our last voucher to get on Amtrak to go back to Harrisburg. Lancaster is just not a good place for the homeless whatsoever. And the first couple of nights that Collin had been staying in Lancaster, as a homeless person, he was moved about maybe like 6 times by the police. So, that's just a fact of life. I mean, the police are just doing their job, but at the same time, it means that the people who are determining the policies, I mean, maybe even the population of Lancaster, is determining the policies which make it like hostile for the homeless. So it's not the police's fault. It's the people of Lancaster for not, standing up and speaking out at their city council. Anyway.
Of 2019, and in addition to that, we are currently working on a toxic trespass citizens initiative, which holds companies liable for environmental emissions into the air. I'm passionate, I'm dedicated, I love my people.
Oh yes, and of course, considering the rollback of the 31 regulations from the EPA for clean air, clean water, stuff like that, by the new director of the EPA, this toxic trespass thing is going to become a much more major issue, especially considering that environmental racism, environmental gerrymandering has been a thing, like for say the Black population in Reading, but now also potentially the Latino population, Sheila has said to me, that essentially, there is such a thing as conservative Latinos, and the thing is, in emphasis mine, they don't need to be model minority all the time, because eventually that professionalism may cover up, human rights violations and stuff like that. I'm not saying it's, that way now, but the thing is, the professional complacency and the shutting out of, like, feelings and like the people part rather than the institutional part, that this is going to become a really prominent issue moving forward, in places like Reading and frankly all over the United States.
I go door to door. I enjoy it, and I enjoy the multicultural nationalities that live in the city of Reading. That's why.
I forget exactly who wrote the book that actually says when things like healthcare systems go toward institutional preservation rather than actually remembering, their mission is to help people and stuff like that. Well, it also, happens to city governments or any sort of organization. Universalist Unitarians, Pennsylvania Stands Up, even maybe potentially leftist socialist organizations, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, the thing is, there are just some issues, that a group like Pennsylvania Stands Up never wants to touch, because they only want to make, a limited commitment, because otherwise they're going to get. But the thing is, they're already getting burned out, and the C-suite is putting intense pressure on the organizers to do more work that is human, frankly. And so, I had a statement prepared. Okay, so if I were to go to biblical on them, Pennsylvania Stands Up operates on a top-down misinterpretation of Psalm 27:4. The house of God is not on earth, nor is her family, and it's not about mission or operations. It's about developing relationships with people. PA Stands Up problems come from when they lose their principles of a thing in favor of an identitarian ideology of a thing imposed by a few people high on the totem pole. And if you are involved in Pennsylvania Stands Up, I fear for you, especially if you're an organizer given twice the to complete half the time without showing emotion or bringing in your personal life. That's corporate slavery. If someone hurts you and has been privileged their whole life, you still have the right to say, that hurts. If you're involved in the group and are a person of color, stop being a model minority. You fear the bosses, but Trump's bosses are the next level. If you're involved in the group and are LGBTQ, stop being a model queer minority. Stop hiding your emotions, be disheveled, blunt, and unprofessional. If you have to, because you are supposed to be a leftist political organization. Sorry. And that's the thing. So you have to really stick to your principles when you say, we believe every person has the right to self-determination, safety, and dignity. And I say, no, you don't. In the way this has been carried out, all of these terms are morbid euphemisms. Anyway.
So we better go in now.
Let's continue this just for like a minute or two more.
What really attracts me to the city.
What personal qualities do you have that will help you be an effective council member?
Well, I've been fighting for justice for many, many years. Growing up, I'm first generation Puerto Rican born here. Growing up, my parents didn't know any English, so I actually served as an interpreter, and seeing all the issues my parents and other immigrants have had when they came here, it just developed into the type of person that I am today, always fighting for what's right.
See, that's the thing, like a lot of the Latino population, they're engrossed in their religion, and it's a little bit stale. It feels a little bit stale, and it's like there's no sort of like Pancho Villa style revolutionary thinking. There's no Che Guevara style revolutionary thinking. No Jacobo Arbenz it's like, well, I mean, did these people study Latin American history? I mean, Sheila sounds, pretty revolutionary. I mean, of course, she does it in a proper way, through paperwork and proper channels and stuff like that, you know. Um, but at least if we could get it into people's heads, that this sort of is a revolution. I mean, we just watched a video saying that AOC is the leader for the Democrat Party. She got a 10 out of 10. Harris only got a 9. Gavin Newsom got a 2. Obama got a 4. Hillary got a 0, something like that. But it's like the Democrat Party has not been listening to the people, and especially you can't get in politics just because you're a person of color, and I'm a person of color too, and I was supposed to theoretically conform more as being half Asian and stuff like that, but like I'm sort of invisible because I'm like an East Asian, and like most everybody who's Asian in Reading is Vietnamese. So anyway, generally speaking, I don't know really who's working for who, and yeah, one more minute.
Okay. Do you think, going to the city then, do you think Penn Street is healthy and successful? If not, what would you change to make it more healthy and more successful?
Well, there's a lot. Penn Street has a lot that can be done to it. If you go over the bridge, over to Penn Avenue, you have a vibrant downtown on Main Street just over the bridge. A lot of the barriers, the red tape, that zoning impedes the.
Oh, you know what? Literal barriers. Take out that island in the middle of Penn Street. I mean, even take out the sidewalk because the traffic calming in that case might actually be more dangerous for cyclists and people using scooters and other human-centered transportation. Just take out that sidewalk, create lanes, protect it with concrete bollards, or make it parking protected. Expand the parking, or even better yet, make half of that Penn Street corridor, one direction in its entirety, be bike and pedestrian only. You don't have to turn the whole thing into bike and pedestrian. You all you have to do is just make all the cars go one way, and if they want to come back down, they can use Washington Street. Yeah.
The businesses to be able to function here. In addition, the meters don't help. It keeps the foot traffic away. I'm for getting rid of all the meters, giving people the 3-hour limit to be able to walk the downtown and not have to worry.
Every city has parking problems. I mean, that's but they also are interested in profit too, for the parking authorities. I mean, like I could easily go anywhere with Park Mobile, like Lambertville, New Jersey. I once used Park Mobile, but that's besides the point. I mean, it doesn't matter if you use a parking garage or on-street parking. I mean, just the whole approach to parking in cities, Reading, Lancaster, York, Harrisburg, you name it. Generally speaking, it's very stingy. I mean, of course, in most cities, Lancaster, Harrisburg, Reading, it's supposed to be after 5 or after 6 or something like that. The park is free. But then, if you have somebody staying overnight, they don't want to use event parking exclusive in the parking garage. It just confuses people. So, but then if they park on the street, the moment it hits 8 in the morning, they're going to have to move their car, or they're going to have to wake up early in the morning to start paying the meter. So it just doesn't make any sense. Okay, that's a good place to stop now.
I'm gonna take the chair into